Alrighty folks, so we're driving the Subaru Ascent back from its dialysis. With that I call my car's oil changes, basically car dialysis, and with that it had some maintenance done today just because with that it's getting ready to go on another cross-country road trip. Well, this time about halfway, not a full way, but in this regard it's going to be a good idea to get some stuff done to it beforehand, because those trips, although the cars do really well on long trips just because of really minimal engine wear, if any, happens, and whoever threw that rock is an asshole. In this regard, we went ahead and did some fuel injection cleaner. So of course with this not having port injection, they do suggest every 30,000 miles to do a fuel system clean. That is the one thing I will splurge on when it comes to car maintenance, just because with not having port injection, actually the car can develop the hiccups, which happened to us last week. The car had a little bit of a drunken night and literally just had hiccups, and basically speaking, it was kind of hesitating between 2,000 and 3,000 RPMs, and then we did the Italian tune-up because, you know, I have AAA, why not? If it blows up, it blows up, it's still under warranty. And with that, it actually fixed the issue, and so there was a possibility that it needed some fuel cleaning, so we went ahead and did that. Brake-wise, honestly, we've only done one set of brakes, and it was in the front or the back of the car. I can't remember exactly, but in this case, we've only had to do it once, and we are approaching the caution for Subaru. However, we are still doing really well on the brakes, which is good because my partner's a little bit harder on the gas and brake pedal. I drive faster most of the time, but I'm the grandpa accelerator and grandpa slower downer, whereas he will accelerate up to speed very quickly and then with that use the brakes to their advantage. His motto, if it's there, use it. So with that being said though, overall the car is running really well. We had the strut replaced again, and that seems to be the faulting point on this particular car. I'm not saying the Ascents in general, but we've had to go through two struts on the right hand side. The left one is still holding strong, so maybe because I'm mainly in the passenger seat, maybe I'm just too chunky monkey for it, but in this case, overall it's behaving very well. One thing I'll say though is that right now it's pretty windy. The car does feel like it's kind of moving all over the place. The steering is very light in this vehicle, and also too, it's not flickering. For some apparent reason, the camera and the sun are just mating perfectly today to produce the offspring of a flashing, epilepsy-inducing center speed display there. So with that, it's a little bit kind of a little wobbly today, but in this regard, that does happen, of course, in the wind. Otherwise, it feels pretty sure-footed, but it is light on its feet, which is really nice. I do have some performance tires on here just because, you know, with that turning a corner and such, if we want to play corners or play Tokyo Drift, we have the ability to do so a little bit more effectively. The one thing that I don't like about this car is, or one thing I don't like about this car, there are a couple things. One thing I don't like about the car though is I always feel like the hood's gonna fly up on me. With that, it is very wobbly. It's a light hood, but in that case, it does always kind of like make me nervous, and I feel like the clasp is just hanging on by a thread. But we've had it since brand new, and basically that has been since day one, and we have been in other Ascents, and the hood does the same thing. So in this regard, not to worry, it will not fly up on you as long as you have the hood correctly positioned, and yeah, and you actually maintain your latches, which you shouldn't really have to, because I mean, you're not really opening the hood a lot. Interior is going to need some cleaning. With that, we'll get some detail on this in a little bit. The other thing that I've kind of noticed has become a little tricky on this vehicle is the Apple CarPlay. It, for some apparent reason, does not like to connect all the time, but I've noticed that happening on my Mazda as well, and I have a feeling it actually is the phone and not the car, because I've had to turn off the phone and turn it back on multiple times in order to get it to connect. But after a couple software updates, it appears that it's gotten better, so that's a good thing. With that, yeah, so this is the Subaru after its 72,000 mile service. Granted, we were a little late, so we are at 73,798, but best to just go ahead and service the car a little sooner, and then we'll probably do one more before the car goes on its cross-country road trip, which we're going to take this one because my partner really likes his living room, is what he calls it. So in that case, sometimes bigger cars can be really comfortable to go on trips on. We're not really going to be taking my CX-50, you know, that far. But granted, it'll go, but like, you know, with that, if we can take the more comfortable one, why not? So with that, as you guys can see, no sputtering. Again, we did the fuel injection cleaner, or fuel injecting cleaner, or whatever it is, and with that, you know, to clean the back half of the valves that get all covered up because cars no longer want to use port injection and basically make things less reliable. Transmission on this is held up pretty nicely. You know, CVTs, they do get a bad rep, but in this regard, Subaru CVTs, they tend to be doing pretty well. Now, granted, it's not across the board. Everybody, you know, people's cars are going to behave differently. Transmissions fail, but Subarus seem to be doing pretty well in this department. And, you know, with that the chain-driven belt is much better, and also the high torque CVT, it appears that, you know, it does pretty well. Like, honestly, it's been a pretty reliable gearbox for us. Now, granted, I don't personally like them, but you know, with that, it's not my car, and sometimes, you know, we don't get to dictate what our partners buy. It's not the 60s. So yeah, but basically, you know, and this car is also amazing in traffic. Turning on the adaptive cruise control is like fire. This car does really well in terms of gauging its distance. My car, although I feel like the 24 is a little bit better than the 23, the adaptive cruise control on my car basically likes to play race cars, and then it just shoots you. It shoots you forward after you get over a lane, and then it has to like slam on the brakes because it realized it made a mistake. So with that, basically speaking, my car just kind of like the more marriage divorce right away situation, whereas this one kind of does better in that department. Although I will say the lane keeping assist on this car absolutely sucks. I can't stand it on my Hyundai Tucson because my Mazda, it nudges you, but it does not really correct you much. On my Hyundai Tucson, I mean, it definitely tried to yeet me over and like kind of do the whole Fast and the Furious Honda Civic flip over scene when the truck hit Letty's car, but in this case, this one is arguably worse. It shuts off and then punishes you even if you have your hands on the wheel. So, you know, it's not something that we particularly use, but we've used it a couple times, and honestly, Subarus I've probably found to be one of the worst, but it shines in other aspects. And I mean, this car, again, has been pretty reliable to us. Even though the reliability ratings on the Subaru Ascent are pretty low, this one specifically has been a gem. So, with that being said, I will go ahead and end the video here. But if anybody has any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out and enjoy the ambiance of very family-friendly, dog-friendly Subaru life. All right, guys, I'll catch you soon. Later.